As an organization founded on the principles of sustainable forest management, ProForest is proud to have supported the Edo State government in setting up the Forestry Commission. I must once again thank His Excellency, Governor Obaseki, for his commendable foresight in establishing this august institution, which is responsible not only for the protection and management of the remaining forests we have in Edo, because we don't have much left, but also for the restoration of the degraded forest reserves with the objectives of bringing them back into permanent forestry. For me, that's very important. I must say that the new Forestry Commission, if well-resourced, will be able to generate new ideas, innovations, and strategies to be able to address the challenges that are facing the forestry sector in Edo State.
Forestry as a subject matter is not in the exclusive or concurrent list, but under residual legislative list, wherein only state houses of assembly can legislate. Section 20 of the Constitution gives the prerogative of management, conservation, and preservation of the forest on the state government. So that is to say, the state government has the right, the prerogative to manage the forest in Nigeria. So on this note, our government has started a stride, and I'm sure he will take it to the end before he leaves. Why I'm saying this, we've been having issues with the managers of forests in Nigeria. Unlike other countries in the whole of sub-Saharan Africa, it is only Nigeria that is on land that has no forest law. Nigeria as a country, not this. The states have their forest law and their policies. But Nigeria as a country has no forest law. The reason I've read to you, Section 20 of the Constitution, you can go back and refer to it, now see where we have issues, where we have problems. Because of this, it is difficult for some states or for states to attract funds. But for me, it is overwhelming that the government has been able to attract funds to develop Edo forest. Because it is very difficult in other clients, the international organizations and funding agencies relate with the national government. But Edo State governor has been able to move ahead. In fact, it's a stride that no other state, has gotten or to.
Somebody said God must always win. I think today we are looking at that victory for the Edo people. IDH, I bring you felicitation for IDH. The commitment of IDH is anchored very sincerely on the trust and confidence that this Forestry Commission established by His Excellency gave to foreign investors. There's a clear definition now that they are convinced that it's a place to come. In recent times, Your Excellency, you will recall that in November, you declared a program open in the ICT Center of DJ Oyego Center, where the issues were canvassed, and all stakeholders in this landscape were brought on board. Your Excellency, I want to confess to you today that particular functions you gave bite to, today now have all the players in this industry, in this particular landmass play. All of them, DSL Fudo is part of that compact now. The head of Ijo is part of that compact now. The Enugu of Ugolo is part of the compact. All the MDAs that are involved in this landscape development, they're part of the compact. We also have the Annie Foundation, part of the compact. All of these are part of the compact now because we believe that in synergy and working together, we can get a different result, better than what we used to be in the past.
Coming from Okomu Oil Palm Company, Okomu is next door to the Okomu Forest Reserve. We collaborate very well, and I believe everybody is aware of it. On this note, we are very happy that the Forestry Commission is being set up because it will help in the improved management of the forest cover of Edo State. And we would provide all the support that we provide to other institutions in this state to help manage the forest and make it sustainable. Already Okomu as a company is RSPO certified, which means we take sustainability very seriously. And we believe a government institution like the Forestry Commission will be a very good vehicle for sustainability and conservation. And on that note, we have already started an afforestation program, and this year we are going to plant 10 hectares of abandoned forests with the support of the incoming Forestry Commission. I would like to thank the governor personally and on behalf of Okomu for his foresight and plans for bringing back the forest of Edo State, because it's the biggest resource the state has. And if it is conserved, it will go a long way in helping the development of the state.
The ESOP itself is Edo State Oil Palm Program. It was launched in 2019 by the central bank governor, and Edo State has been able to recover close to 100,000 hectares of degraded forest. Seasoned investors were invited to partner with the state government, including but not limited to flour mills of Nigeria, Dufil, Saro Africa, Nosak, Fayuz, and a few other companies. In the last 3 years, we have worked with the ESOP Independence Office in developing, in developing a sustainable and community-friendly approach in having access to the land. We did participatory boundary establishment, which means all the concessions have been demarcated by the understanding with the different communities. Secondly, we've also been able to put participatory rural assessment, where we work with the communities to understand what their needs are, with the view that when we start the development of the respective concessions, we would be able to help those communities meet some of their social needs while working with government. Now, when you say, okay, what has oil palm got to do with the forestry? One, the concessions have been issued with degraded forest. So planting the oil palm is some form of recovery, orderly recovery in a sustainable manner. Two, the oil palm investors are also working with the state government in ensuring that between 5 to 10% of the concession area is put to reforestation.
Representing the Conservator General, National Park Service, Dr. Ibrahim M. Goni. Your Excellency, sir, may I seek your kind indulgence to read a prepared speech by the Conservator General, which he asked me specifically to read on his behalf, sir. I now read his speech. It gives me great pleasure and honor to host the Executive Governor of Edo State, His Excellency Godwin E. Obaseki, and his entourage on this auspicious occasion of the inauguration of the Edo State Forestry Commission. I am indeed delighted to be part of this epoch-making event. Today, we mark a new beginning in the conservation and sustainable management of forest reserves in this great state. Edo State is blessed with a rich endowment of natural resources, shown by the vast forest reserves. Okomu National Park is one of such highly cherished national assets of the state. As you are all aware, Okomu National Park is one of the 7 national parks in the country. This park covers an area of about 200 square kilometers and is situated in Obia Southwest local government area of Edo State. It is typical of a lowland tropical rainforest, and indeed one of the few surviving rainforests in Nigeria. The forest reserve in the state, and indeed Okomu National Park, play a vital role in the economy, providing timber and non-timber forest products and ecosystem services such as carbon sequestration, soil conservation, water catchment, and many more. Apart from all this, They also provide habitat for a diverse range of wildlife. However, we are all aware that the forests face numerous threats, including deforestation, degradation, and fragmentation due to human activities such as logging, farming, and urbanization. These threats have adverse consequences for the environment, wildlife, and our continued existence as a people. I commend His Excellency for his visionary leadership in establishing the Edo State Forestry Commission. It is indeed timely and essential. The initiative will bring about a positive change and provide the necessary impetus for protecting the forest and the diverse plants and animals that depend on them. Going forward, I am pleased to note that the Edo State government has demonstrated its commitment to forest conservation and the management by establishing the commission. It is no doubt a bold step towards achieving the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, especially those related to climate action, biodiversity conservation, and benefit sharing. Therefore, I am confident that the Commission will make a significant contribution towards conserving and managing Edo State's forest resources. At this juncture, I wish to express my unreserved appreciation to the Executive Governor of Edo State, His Excellency Godwin Obaseki, and the Edo State government for the support the service has enjoyed over the years through the Okomu National Park. Some of these achievements include, but not limited to the ban on concession to timber associations in area BC10 of the Okomu Forest, which has brought about calmness to the parks surrounding. Secondly, incorporation of Okomu National Park in the Edo State Security Council just recently, and the initiation of a joint security agencies operation in Okomu National Park, Okomu Forest Reserve, and the Gelengele Forest Reserve, which is geared towards ridding the forest areas of anthropogenic and all forms of criminal activities. We are indeed grateful for all these interventions. However, the service is desirous of your support in the following areas, sir. Providing technical and logistics support, such as anti-poaching patrol vehicles, speedboats for surveillance along the waterways, and aerial surveillance equipment. Livelihood options capable of reducing the pressure and over-dependency on the park resources by the indigenous people and local communities. These are some of the areas that we are calling or praying to His Excellency to look into. As the foremost conservation organization in Nigeria, we are very aware of the unsustainable environmental practices perpetuated by humans, and to this end, we have been making concerted efforts and taking adequate steps to checkmate most of these activities that jeopardize conservation and environmental sustainability. Some of these strategies that the service has been adopted include anti-poaching patrols and surveillance, information gathering and sharing with relevant security agencies such as the Nigerian Army, Nigerian Police, DSS, NSCDC, the Correctional Service, the Immigration Service, and many other security agencies that are not mentioned here. We also collaborate with relevant NGOs, both locally and internationally, to enhance research, conservation, and park protection, as well as support zone development across the national parks. Some of our allies in Okomu National Park are the Okomu Oil Palm Company, African Natural Investors ANI, Azura, Levities Foundation, Sarah, etc. Similarly, we undertake sensitization and enlightenment campaigns to increase forest cover and vegetation through the establishment of 10 additional national parks. Provision of alternative livelihood support to the support zone communities, amongst others. At this juncture, I wish to inform His Excellency that our traditional rulers, especially the ERC of Udo, His Royal Highness Patrick Ibinidu, and a host of other present here today, have been very supportive to our efforts in protecting and conserving these critical natural resources. The successes recorded so far would not have been possible without their cooperation and commitment. On this note, I pledge my full support to the Edo State Forestry Commission. We will work closely together to share knowledge, expertise, and best practice in forest management, conservation, and protection of the state's natural resources.
Today's event has multiple dimensions. First, it's about sustainability. If we're going to continue to live on this earth, in this place, Edo, then we must begin to be less selfish and plan better, not just for ourselves, but for our generations to come, of how we will live here. Because if we destroy everything we have, we consume everything we have today, there will be nothing left for succeeding generations. The second issue is about security, because our forests are ungoverned spaces, and we know the use to which they have been put in recent times. So today's event is actually to address these two critical issues. We are fortunate in Edo because forestry management started here almost 100 years ago. And we still have documents in our archives to show that as far back as the 1920s, forest reserves were created and they were managed under a 50-year felling cycle, which meant that if you are given a concession to log in a particular reserve, in a particular area, you are not allowed to come back there for another 50 years. You go somewhere else, because you have to regrow that place where you cut those trees. We have experienced a sharp reduction and degradation of our forests as a result of not only illegal loggers, but so many practices. That is why in 2018, specifically in April 14th, I set up an advisory committee. I called experts to advise me on what to do and to look at the possibility of creating an institution to help us manage our forests and wildlife resources sustainably. Because what has happened is that by mixing the issue of forestry with other ministries, whether agric, whether environment, we never looked at the issue of forestry independently and dispassionately. We had the same problem with sports. That's why we set up a sports commission, to just deal with sports exclusively. So we felt one way to handle the issue of forestry and sustainability was to set up a commission whose sole and only purpose is to just to deal with forest assets. And this committee did a very, very thorough job, which included advising us on how to set up this forestry commission and also to the laws to back up this institution, which were all passed very thoroughly after diligent work by the House of Assembly. I ascended to the Forestry Commission bill on November 2nd last year. And this law today is effective in Edo State. And it's part of giving effect to this law. That's why we're here today. because this law facilitates a proper utilization, preservation, and protection of our forest and wildlife resources, as well as harnessing forests and wildlife resources to promote conservation of the ecosystem. We have been talking about diversification of our economy. I want to assure you that from the work that has been done to date with the Forestry Commission, we have set up a very, very professional organization. We have created a Forestry Commission, and so what? How can we all now be involved? What is the plan? What is the strategy? We've lost quite a bit of our forests. But look at today. It's been raining all morning. We're in the rainforests. Our forests will grow back. We can regrow our forests if we start now. So we must have a plan. Over the next 10 years, what must we do? And how do we ensure commitment that what we've agreed is done? That's why we need a very clearly articulated strategy for reforestation and regeneration of our forests. And fortunately, because of the partnerships we have all over the world, we're glad that there's quite a lot of resources to support us. That's why with partners like IDH, we've been doing a lot of work, because our people say, the forest we go chop. Yes, they have to live. So what are the other issues of livelihood? How do we support people who live in forest areas with livelihoods so that they can continue to protect and sustain the forests for us? Ladies and gentlemen, the forestry sector is attracting a lot of attention from investors, both locally and internationally. And development partners have been quite kind to us because they've opened their doors. And we're working with them, particularly in the areas of plantation establishments. You'll see the nurseries we have put in place. I want to thank Rontai Woods. This is a company that is working with us and hopefully will do a bit more research on our indigenous species of wood and giving us millions of seedlings so that we can work with them in enforcing our strategy for regeneration. Capacity. Human capacity, as far as I'm concerned, is the most important resource we need. Because if we get all the money and we don't have the people who know what to do, then the money will come to nothing. So that is why training, kind of capacity development we are getting from IDH is so invaluable. And we cannot tell you how grateful we are. The Food and Agriculture Organization wrote to us a couple of months ago to be part of a project for conservation of biodiversity and sustainable use of lowland forests. And we and 3 other states, or 4 other states, are involved. We want to thank them extremely because they promised us slightly over $3 million for this project alone. Partnership for Forests, P4F, and what they've been doing with us. And he told you about his comments, the comment he made about the UK minister on sustainability and their views of what we're doing in Edo State. We want to make sure that we continue in that light. I want to thank the National Conservator of Forests. We could have done this event in Government House, Benin. I said, no, let us come here. Because you cannot be discussing forestry where there's no forest. So I want to thank you. And I know you've been support for us. And you've assured us that you will continue to be of support to us. And I want to let you know today that we see ourselves as partners. When it comes to issue of sustainability, there's no federal or local. We are partners, we are one, we are Nigerians. Our father, the Yasenudo, he owns the land. As A royal father, I'm yet to meet a royal father who is as understanding. If you call him at midnight and say there is a problem, he will get up that very instant and he heads in there. Yes, sir, talk away. We can't thank you enough. The Forestry Commission has had a major boost. You saw, when I came in, I inspected the guard that was mounted. Those are our new rangers. And that is one of the reasons I haven't explained why I said that 90-day operation to clear our forests of these hoodlums, particularly Okumu and Gelegele, must be undertaken. Because I don't want any of these children to be hurt by these criminals. ANI, African Nature Investors Foundation, has helped us tremendously with a lot of resources to train them. And the quality of training they receive, this first batch, is to be rivaled. And we intend to continue the training so that we have this paramilitary force to help the security agencies patrolling and securing our ungoverned spaces, our forests. And as you see from our strategy, unfortunately, we cannot continue to give compartments or allot compartments to people who are not going to use it or be part of our strategy. So the law now mandates us to revoke all existing compartments and reissue new licenses based on our new strategy. I now, with the greatest delight, inaugurate the Forestry Commission, which is symbolized by a logo which depicts the rich biodiversity of Edo State. And I also have the pleasure to launch the 10-year restoration strategy of Edo State, which is aimed at restoring our degraded landscape in Edo. Can you all now join me in unveiling the logo?
Please. A round of applause for that inauguration of logo of the Forestry Commission and the